You know, sometimes in history, the biggest stories are the ones you'd least expect. We're going to talk about a president whose greatest legacy wasn't what he did while he was alive, but how he died. It's a crazy story, really. The story of James A. Garfield. So, how long was he in office? Just 200 days? I mean, that's it. Less than 7 months? Barely enough time to get settled in the White House, right? It's one of the shortest presidencies in all of U.S. history. So that's the big question, isn't it? How on earth does a president with only 200 days on the job end up changing America forever? I mean, how is that even possible? Well, the answer? It's as fascinating as it is tragic. Okay, so to really get a handle on his impact, we've got to go back a bit. We need to know who James Garfield was before he ever stepped foot in the Oval Office as the 20th president. I mean, Garfield's story is the classic American dream, for real. This guy was born in a literal log cabin in Ohio. He had nothing. But through pure grit and brainpower, he becomes a college professor, then a decorated general in the Civil War, and then spends almost 20 years in Congress. And his reputation in Washington, people knew him as whip smart, super fair, and maybe most important of all, he was honest. And that honesty, well, that's what put him on a collision course with the biggest, most corrupt political machine of the era. This one conflict, it was going to define his entire presidency. And this enemy, it had a name. It was called the spoils system. Just imagine for a second, a government where it doesn't matter what you know, it only matters who you know. Every single job, from the local postmaster all the way up, was just a prize handed out to loyal party members. It was a total mess, completely corrupt, and Garfield, he was going to put a stop to it. So, what you have here are two totally different ideas for how America should run. On one side, you've got the spoils system. It's all about who you know, which, let's be honest, just leads to corruption. But on the other side, you have Garfield's vision, a merit system, where you get a job because you're actually, good at it. The goal was a professional, efficient government that actually worked for the people. And look, Garfield wasn't just all talk. He walked the walk. He went head-to-head with these powerful bosses inside his own party. The Republicans were split right down the middle between the stalwarts who loved the old corrupt system and the half-breeds who wanted to clean things up. When Garfield just flat-out refused to give jobs to their unqualified buddies, he basically declared war on the entire political establishment. But this fight for what was right, this stand he took on principle, it would lead directly and tragically to the very thing that would cement his place in history forever, and not in a good way. Yeah, those are the actual words shouted by the assassin Charles Guiteau right after he shot the president. Guiteau was this disgruntled, totally delusional guy who honestly believed he was owed a government job just because he supported Garfield. He was a poster child for everything that was wrong with the spoils system, the tragic walking embodiment of the corruption Garfield was fighting. His motive was 100% political. The shooting happened on July 2nd, 1881. But here's the crazy part. Garfield didn't die right away. For 80 long, agonizing days, the entire country just watched and waited. Doctors with literally unwashed hands and dirty tools were digging around inside him trying to find the bullet. In the end, it wasn't even the bullet that killed him, it was the horrific infection their probing caused. He finally passed away on September 19th. The whole country was just stunned, horrified. Their president had just been murdered by some guy who was mad he didn't get a government job. Think about that. This one single shocking act unleashed this tidal wave of public anger. People were demanding change, and they were not going to be ignored. All of a sudden, the problem was crystal clear for everyone. This wasn't just some abstract political debate anymore. The spoils system was a cancer, and it had just killed the President of the United States. So Garfield's death, it became the final push, the catalyst for everything. And here's the real irony, the tragic part. His death, his martyrdom, probably accomplished more for his cause in just a few months than he ever could have in a full term as president. It's unbelievable when you think about it. And this is the direct result, the Pendleton Act of 1883. This was it. This was Garfield's vision made into law. It totally flipped the script on how government works. From now on, you had to pass an exam to get a government job. You couldn't be fired just for your political beliefs. This act created the professional, nonpartisan civil service that we still have today. So, yeah, his life was cut tragically short, but his death literally gave birth to a whole new kind of American government.
But you know what? Civil service reform, that wasn't even the whole story.
I mean, just think about this. In only 200 days, he still managed to do so much. He strengthens the presidency itself, making it more independent from the party bosses. He fought for education and civil rights for African Americans. He pushed to modernize the U.S. Navy. And on top of all that, his death managed to unite a pretty divided country against one common enemy: corruption. It really leaves you thinking, doesn't it? Garfield's story is this incredible reminder that you don't measure a leader's impact by how long they were in office, but by what they stood for. So it makes you ask, what does his story, his tragic legacy, really teach us about the power of integrity? And maybe about the price you have to pay for it?